There's an instant, almost invisible, when everything changes. It's not when you're working overtime, nor when you're patiently waiting for an opportunity. It's before. It's that moment when you discover that true wealth isn't always earned by working harder, but by thinking differently. Millionaires know this. Money has a language of its own, and only those who learn it can participate in its secret conversation. Today, we're going to decipher that language, not with empty dreams or quick money tricks that disappear in weeks, but with 10 precise habits that can accelerate your path to abundance without having to sacrifice your entire life at a desk. Because behind every great fortune are invisible strategies, as calculated as the gears of a Swiss watch. If you've ever felt you were destined for something greater, write in the comments, "My time is now." Perhaps that simple action will be the first step in your own strategy toward wealth. Rule 1. Get up before the sun. The clock doesn't just tell the time, it also measures your advantage over the rest of the world. In the attention and productivity economy, the most valuable hours aren't bought, they're earned before dawn. Think about this. If you start your workday just 2 hours earlier than most people, after a year, you'll have accumulated more than 700 additional hours of focused work. That's almost a full month of extra productive time. And in the financial world, a month's head start can be the difference between being the first to see an opportunity or being late to the party. Millionaires know this. Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, starts his day at 4:30 a.m. to work out, check emails, and plan before any meetings interrupt him. Howard Schultz, former CEO of Starbucks, would run before dawn and arrive at the office with decisions already made. Richard Branson, founder of Virgin, claims that those first few hours are the ones that win the battle of the day. But this habit isn't just a matter of scheduling, it's a change in thinking patterns. The first few hours of the day are virgin territory. The phone doesn't ring, social media doesn't distract you, and the entire world seems silent. There, the most important ideas find space to grow. In finance, time is the scarcest resource. Markets reward those who arrive first, those who read the report first, spot the trend first, or submit the proposal first. Getting up before the sun isn't romantic, it's a positioning strategy in the race for opportunity. And here's a powerful detail. Studies show that people who get up early are 10% more likely to achieve their annual goals because they manage their energy peaks better and maintain the consistency necessary for long-term projects. If you start early every morning, little by little, without anyone noticing, you'll be building a silent competitive advantage. And silent advantages are the most lethal in the money game. Rule 2. Make your money follow a plan. Money is like an employee. If you don't give it a specific task, it will sit idly by, or worse, work for someone else. Those who manage large fortunes don't see money as something to be spent, but as something to be directed. Every bill, every transfer, every investment has a precise mission within a system designed to grow. Millionaires don't improvise. They follow allocation principles that, although they vary in percentages depending on the stage of their life, have an unwavering logic. 50% for essential needs, housing, utilities, transportation, insurance, and expenses that guarantee stability. 30% for investments, stocks, index funds, real estate, own businesses. Here, money multiplies. 20% for savings and unforeseen events. An emergency fund that covers between 6 and 12 months of life without income. This scheme, or variations of it, is not a whim. It's a reflection of something in economics called cash flow control. When your income has a designated purpose before it even reaches your account, you drastically reduce the risk of impulsive spending and maximize your investment capacity. Consider Warren Buffett. For decades, he maintained a frugal lifestyle, not because he couldn't spend, but because he knew that every dollar he didn't put to work was a dollar that stopped multiplying. Buffett understood the golden rule from a young age. Money that isn't invested loses value against inflation. The reality is harsh. According to World Bank surveys, more than 60% of people don't have a written budget. And that's like piloting a plane without instruments. You may make progress, but you won't know if you're heading toward your destination or into a storm. Start today. Open a document or a simple piece of paper. Write down your total monthly income. Then assign a function to each number. Don't say, "What I have left over, I save," because that's the path most people take, and most people never achieve financial independence. Remember, money is loyal to whoever manages it. If you don't manage it, someone else will. Write in the comments, "Nothing stops me, everything drives me." Let this be your first conscious act of financial leadership. Rule 3. Learn as if your life depended on it. In the money game, knowledge is the most powerful currency. Fortune is built long before you see a single extra dollar. It's built in the mind, in the way you interpret the world, detect opportunities, and anticipate risks. The average millionaire spends at least 30 minutes a day reading strategically. It's not leisure reading, it's purposeful reading. Biographies of leaders to learn their decision-making patterns. Investment manuals to understand new financial vehicles. Essays on consumer psychology to anticipate trends before they explode. Why do they do it? Because every book, every article, every class they take is like adding another brick to the wall protecting their wealth. And that wall is what allows them to withstand crises and take advantage of opportunities that others don't even see. A study by Thomas Corley, author of Rich Habits, revealed that 88% of wealthy people read at least 30 minutes a day on topics related to their career or finances, while only 2% of people facing financial difficulties do so. This difference in habits is so great that, in the long term, it translates into income gaps that seem impossible to close. Not reading is like competing in a race without knowing where the finish line is or which route to take. Yes, you might make progress, but you'll end up exhausted, not knowing if you're going in the right direction, while others have already crossed the line and are enjoying the prize. Great investors like Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner, insist that the most profitable investment you can make is not in the stock market or real estate, but in your own education. And they're not just referring to formal education, but to continuous, self-directed learning, adapted to changes in the global economy. If you want to build sustainable wealth, dedicate time to training in areas such as personal finance, investing, economics, negotiation, and technological skills. Because knowledge doesn't just protect your money, it multiplies it. Rule 4. Protect your physical energy. Wealth isn't built with numbers alone, but with energy. You can have the best financial strategy in the world, but if your body doesn't respond, your mind won't either. Success requires fuel, and you're the engine. Most millionaires dedicate between 4 and 6 hours a week to physical exercise, not to show off a cover-worthy physique, but to keep the machine in optimal condition. They understand that a trained body not only performs better, but also thinks better. Science backs this up. Studies from the British Journal of Sports Medicine show that regular exercise improves concentration and working memory by up to 20%. This means that active people not only produce more, but also make clearer and faster decisions. And in the world of investing and business, mental speed and precision are worth millions. Think of it this way. A strong heart pumps more oxygen to your brain, and trained lungs keep your mind calm even under stress. That's why many high-level entrepreneurs train early before making critical decisions, because they know that the first meeting of the day is one with the energy you bring from the morning, not with caffeine. Richard Branson sums it up perfectly. Exercise gives me at least 4 more hours of real productivity every day. And those extra hours, accumulated over a year, represent more than 1,400 additional hours of mental clarity and energy, enough to design, launch, and scale an entire company. It's not about becoming an athlete, but rather maintaining the physical stamina necessary to sustain mental toughness. Chronic fatigue, lack of sleep, and inactivity are silent enemies of personal finances because they erode your analytical skills and make you more prone to impulsive decisions. Your body is the first asset you should take care of. Without it, no other will have any value. Write in the comments, "I accept success and happiness in my life." Let it be your reminder that taking care of your energy is taking care of your fortune. Rule 5. Design your day with surgical precision. Time is the only resource that cannot be renewed, and without a clear plan, it evaporates. Unstructured days are easy prey for chaos. Distracting messages, meetings that drag on, urgent tasks that never matter. Those who build wealth understand that daily organization isn't an option, it's an investment. The wealthy plan in time blocks. They divide their day into defined segments with specific tasks and measurable goals. They don't just make a to-do list, they structure their schedule like an engineer designs a bridge. Each section must support the next. The impact of this discipline is enormous. A study from the University of California revealed that after an interruption, it takes the average person 23 minutes and 15 seconds to regain their previous level of concentration. Multiply that loss by 5 or 6 daily interruptions, and you'll have almost 2 hours of lost focus each day, which in a year amounts to more than 700 hours that could have been invested in generating income or expanding knowledge. That's why millionaires protect their attention like gold, because it is. In the 21st century, focus has become the scarcest and most valuable asset. While most people are swept away by notifications, they block out time for high-impact tasks and eliminate or delegate everything else. Jack Dorsey, co-founder of Twitter and Square, is a clear example. He divides his week into themes so that each day is dedicated to a specific area of the company. This method not only reduces stress, but also allows for deeper and more consistent progress. Don't confuse movement with progress. You can spend the day busy and not make any progress. The key is to measure your day by what you produce, not by the hours you worked. Rule 6. Eat to win. Food is more than pleasure. It's the raw material from which you manufacture your energy, your focus, and your decision-making capacity. A poorly nourished body not only tires more quickly, it makes worse decisions. And in the business world, a single wrong decision can cost you months or even years of work. That's why many wealthy people view nutrition as a direct investment in their performance. The brain, although it represents only 2% of body weight, consumes about 20% of the energy we generate. If that energy comes from simple sugars and processed foods, the result is a constant cycle of peaks and troughs that erodes your productivity. The ultra-wealthy pay chefs not for luxury, but for efficiency. A menu designed to maintain stable blood glucose levels reduces inflammation, improves mental clarity, and prolongs concentration. This not only allows them to work longer hours with the same intensity, but also reduces the risk of illnesses that could sideline them for weeks or months. Studies from Harvard Medical School show that a diet rich in healthy fats, fresh vegetables, and quality protein can improve memory and reaction time by up to 30%. Imagine that margin of improvement applied to negotiating a multi-million-dollar contract or spotting an investment opportunity before the competition. Food is fuel, and a smart investor would never fill their Ferrari with poor quality gasoline. You are that Ferrari. What you put on your plate determines how you think, how you react, and how long you last. It's not about following a strict diet, but rather adopting a principle of strategic eating. Each meal should bring you closer to your goals, not further from them. Think of your lunch as a business meeting with your future self. Now write in the comments, "I am prosperous and I attract wealth." Repeat this until your body and mind accept it as a natural state, just as you accept your food as part of your most important investment, yourself. Rule 7. Make saving a non-negotiable order. Saving isn't an optional act in the lives of those who build wealth. It's an order, a personal mandate that isn't negotiable under any circumstances. And the key isn't the amount, but the discipline. You can start with $50 a month or $5,000. But what really matters is the financial muscle you develop by prioritizing your future over your present. The principle is simple but powerful. Pay yourself first. Before paying bills, before going to the grocery store, before any expense, set aside a fixed portion of your income and protect it. This not only builds a nest egg, but also trains your mind to think long-term, a habit that sets the wealthy apart from the rest. Compound interest is the tool that turns this discipline into a multiplication machine. Let's say you invest $500 a month at an average annual rate of 8%. In 20 years, you won't have the $120,000 you contributed, but more than $295,000. That extra $175,000 difference doesn't come from working more hours, but from letting time and interest work their magic. Albert Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Those who understand it use it, those who don't pay for it. And here's the stark difference. While some drown in credit card debt with 25% annual interest, others accumulate capital that works for them day and night. If you can't save much today, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that you start now, because every month you miss is a month your money could be growing. The excuse, "when I earn more, I'll save," is the most costly self-deception there is. Rule 8. Invest like a gardener. A gardener doesn't sow to reap the next day. Plant with a vision for months, sometimes years, and nurture each sprout with patience. This is how great investors think. Investing isn't an event, it's a process. Millionaires diversify like someone planting different crops to ensure that no matter what the weather throws at them, there's always something that bears fruit. Stocks, real estate, index funds, corporate bonds, stakes in private companies. Every asset has its cycle, its risk, and its potential return. But there's one thing that sets them apart. They never invest in something they don't understand. If they don't understand how a company makes money, how a fund is structured, or what the risks of a financial product are, they simply pass on it. Because in investing, ignorance isn't paid for with curiosity, it's paid for with lost capital. A concrete example: if you invest $10,000 in an index fund that tracks the S&P 500 and hold it for 30 years with an average annual return of 8%, you'd end up with more than $100,000. It's not luck, it's statistics. And most importantly, it didn't require being glued to the screen and making impulsive decisions. Instead, it required letting time and the economy do their work. Patience is more profitable than anxiety. The gardener doesn't pull up the plant to see if it's grown. He waters it, protects it, and waits. Thus, every dollar invested strategically becomes a seed that, with proper care, will bear fruit that will not only nourish your present, but also build a legacy. Now say, "I accept success, money, and happiness into my life." Write it as a reminder that the seeds of your wealth have already been planted, and that the most valuable growth is that which is nurtured with time and consistency. Rule 9. Surround yourself with minds that contribute. In the world of personal finance, your environment is your economic ecosystem. Just as a plant can't grow in toxic soil, your financial mindset won't thrive if it's surrounded by voices that drain energy, minimize your goals, or justify mediocrity. The wealthy know that every conversation is an investment. It can provide you with new strategies, valuable contacts, or insights that change the course of a business. Or it can cost you years of progress if it's filled with negativity and limited thinking. Warren Buffett sums it up this way: "It's better to spend time with people better than you. Choose associates whose behavior is better than yours, and you'll move in that direction." This isn't a pretty metaphor. A Harvard Business School study showed that those who surround themselves with growth-minded colleagues increase their income by 25% on average compared to those who remain in conformist environments. Think of your circle as a personal advisory board. Who inspires you to read more, invest better, and question your spending decisions? And who's driving you to spend on things you don't need, or to waste time on distractions that don't generate returns? The answer to these questions is a clear map of where your bank account is headed. If you want to see your wealth grow, select with surgical precision who you share your most productive hours with. It's not about arrogance, but about protecting your most valuable resource, your focus. Remember that influence is contagious. Spending an hour with someone who thinks in terms of millions pushes you to seek big solutions. Spending it with someone who thinks about barely surviving the month trains you to settle. It's time to audit your circle as you would your finances. It's not easy, but the quality of your relationships will determine the magnitude of your wealth. Rule 10. Cultivate brutal patience. True wealth isn't a stroke of luck or a fleeting flash like a firework. It's more like building a financial cathedral, stone upon stone, year after year, with precision and purpose. Millionaires understand that great returns don't come from the desire to see immediate results, but from the ability to resist the temptation to abandon the plan when progress seems slow. They don't get seduced by investment fads that promise to multiply their money in weeks, because they know these fads often leave more losers than winners. In 1984, if you had invested $10,000 in microstock and simply held your position for 30 years without selling, today that investment would be worth more than $8 million. But most people fail to reap those numbers because they sell too soon, driven by fear of temporary declines or impatience at not seeing quick profits. Brutal patience isn't passivity, it's strategy. It's understanding that in investing, as in farming, you can't rush the harvest without ruining the fruit. Every market setback, every year of moderate growth, is part of the natural maturation process of your wealth. The rich don't break down in the face of a 10% loss if they know the horizon is 10 or 20 years. That's why, while others panic, they buy more, strengthening their position. Patience in this context is the discipline of staying the course while time works its magic. Remember, money loves calm and shuns anxiety. Impatience generates expensive decisions, patience, accrued interest. If everything you've heard today resonated within you, it's because something deep inside you already knows this is your time. Wealth is not a distant goal, but a daily habit that begins in the mind and materializes in your life. If you felt this message was for you, it's because it was. Subscribe and join me on this journey. The next step is waiting for you.